Welcome to another one of these anime in one every year. This is anime in 2021 and anime coming in 2022. Though, yes, Super Sentai as well. Yes. Now, overall, this past year, I only watched, well, new anime wise, 20 anime, which is a little over half of, like, less than half of what I covered in 2020. That was 45 series. This one was only 20. There were a few reasons for that because light novels, reading lots of those. Another reason because this past summer I got back into watching Super Sentai after I briefly got back into it the previous year, 2020. And I kind of in a way been going through a lot of these Super Sentai. I recently did finish another Super Sentai just yesterday, and I'm on the one right now. I started with Jock because that was when I started, so I figured, finish it. Just go ahead and finish the damn thing. Yes. So, yeah. So, I pretty much in a way, finished Jack because that was when I started. So, finished that. Went through the very next three Super Sentai, which were Battle Fever J, Denzi Man, and Sun Vulcan. Battle Fever J, because of the first appearance, the very first Megazord ever received Super Sentai franchise. Denzi Man, I was very curious about the villains. Sun Vulcan, purely because it was a sequel. And of course, I also watched Live Man. So overall this year, I watched 5 Super Sentai this year. Yep, 5. Now, as for the anime I covered this year, well, I covered the original Ru, which I took a while to finish the damn thing. There's also Absolute Duo, which was the very first light novel anime I covered this year. Super X Heroes, second manga one. Now, the next two I watched from the very start when the series aired. One I'm still watching. The other one has since in the first season for it. First, it was Shaman King. Yeah, the reboot of a series I did a few years ago. And, of course, 30 episodes probably supposed to go this week, but postponed because of New Year's Day. Yes. So, those two came out this year. And they were the first ones, basically, I covered the very year they came out. The next few, basically, kind of came out this year. The Hidden Ninja Only I Can Enter. Yeah, that came out this year. Next came Our Last Crusade of the Rise of a New World. This one came out last year, and I did watch this year. It's actually one of the series I really wanted to get into, and I got it done. Really fun anime. And I really kind of wish for season 2 for this one. As for Hidden Ninja Only I Can Enter, there's a possibility we could see a second season of this one. It's possible. Eden Zero. This one, yes. I could definitely see a season 2 for it, but probably had to wait a bit. Shaman King is currently airing. Super X Heroes, from what I've heard, the reason why the show only lasted one season, got canceled with low ratings. And the fact that a lot of people didn't like the adaptation of the anime. I thought it was pretty fun anime. Absolute Duo. They only covered roughly the first 3 books and like a couple chapters of book 4, and that was it. And if you're asking, is there still more material to cover? Yes, there is. There's about 8 books overall. You probably have to cover the rest of book 4 and go through like books 5 and 6. Yep. In the case of To Love Ru, the only thing I can see for this one is a remake. Yes. Also, Last Crusade Rise in the World. The anime surprisingly only covered the first, I think it was the first 3 books, if not mistaken. In just 13 episodes. Great anime to watch. I personally loved it. Yep. The first one I covered this year, where currently to my knowledge, this was another one that started kind of this year, though I managed to last a few weeks with me, just like Hidden Ninja Enter. That was dubbed. In the case of the other one, Don't Tell Me Miss Nagaro, this one was already started. This was subbed. And right now, there's currently no dub for this one. Yeah, I don't know why. It's one of the few I had in this list. There's no dub. Number 9. Combatants will be dispatched. I I mainly got into the series mainly because the fact that it was created by the same person who created Kurosuva, well, the light novels, anyways. And the anime itself only covered the first 2 out of 6 books. I own all 6 books. And it's shocking though we haven't heard anything about season 2 yet for this one. Yeah, you could do it. As a matter of fact, there's a material that you can do two more seasons of the show. Also, this is also another series where, even though I have all the light novels released here, 6 is the most recent book released in Japan. So, and in case you're curious, though, I have the reviews of books 3 through 6, all 4 books. I have done them. Yep. Pure fun series to watch. The 10th one is Why the Hell Are You Here, Teacher? This one definitely was dubbed, like in the case of Anime Smash. But this one was already fully finished. This is the first one since our last Crusade that was fully all dubbed. And this one was one of the most weirdest anime I got into this year. Mainly because of the fact you have these beautiful teachers who end up falling in love with the younger guys who actually are their students. The one who happens to be their childhood friend. And they end basically dating them. At least one of them, from what I heard, actually ends up marrying. At least 2 of them actually marry their teachers. Yeah. I found this anime pretty fun to watch. I talked briefly this to, I think it was the one who voiced, she's one of the voice actors, Ruby. I talked about this show. Even she thought, though, because I mentioned to her that one of the voice actors, somebody she probably had heard of, Monica Rios in the show. Like, oh, I don't know if she's ever met Monica Rios. She may have. But I found it pretty interesting. I mean, she's probably somebody she'd be interested in watching. Yes. I believe it was the actress who voices Whis, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. I think her name is Kara, if I'm not mistaken. Let me take a look here, because it's been a while since I've watched Ruby. Ruby's currently in its 8th season right now. The actress's name is... who voices Whis? Cara Eberly. Yes. Mm-hmm. And of course, I met Aaron Zach the previous year in 2020. Yep. There was also To Love or Darkness, a sequel to To Love Ru. I technically have finished this series, but there's still a few OVAs yet. But the main series, it's already done. It took me a while to finish it, though. Number 12, a series that definitely did so this year, but it started this past August. Mashuka 10, Japanese Reincarnation. Excuse me. And this was a pretty good series. And this was my last one because next few basically where I watched them kind of when they started. Though one of them I have watched it up for complete, well, most of them anyways, except for the last few episodes. 13 was How I Really Saved the Kingdom. When I first heard about this series, I figured, though, okay, this sounds interesting, and I love the premise, and I own some of the books. I bought the book starting book 7, and I have currently book 13 in my stack over here to read, and I've read all the books. Well, book 7 but the 13 it was that have been released so far, and I've loved the story of the series so far. A guy who gets reincarnated, who gets basically isekai in their series. Not to save the world from Demon Lord. Oh no. His job to do is to rebuild the kingdom. So basically, he's basically given the throne of the country, and he gets the king's beautiful daughter as his fiance. I'm like, wow, that is a great deal in my opinion. The only reason why God gets is a realist, and he's damn good with economics. So, and of course, also in the books, he gets himself like several fiancés, which they haven't got to the anime yet, but don't worry, they will get to it. And book 10 is the thing they've been building since book 1, the wedding, which I'm not going to spoil book 10 because I can't wait for this one to be adapted for the anime. Mm-hmm. Yes. This anime was really fun to watch. One YouTuber I watched, he thought the series was boring. No, I actually thoroughly enjoy this because I read the manga, and of course, I read the manga. I read the light novels first, then read the manga. The manga had this weird thing by having all the women in the series who are not the princess. Like, for example, giving her mom a humongous chest. Yes, for some reason, the artist thought it a good idea to give her big breast. And it was the same thing with the Admiral from the Navy, who happens to be Juvia's grandmother, her very beautiful grandmother, who's 500 years old. And they give her a bigger chest they do with both the anime and the light novel. Yes, for some reason they give these women like this. Yeah, I've loved how to watch. I've loved watching this series. I was like the fact Jet Saxton is in the series. She was the first name I recognized when they announced the dub cast. She was the first name recognized because a lot of them I've never heard of them before. Like I heard like one or two anime, but Jet Saxton. Oh yeah, I know who she is, and she voices the Princess Ronora, which she's gonna play a big role in the next few books. Oh, don't worry about that. Yep. 14, which I watched pretty much the same day as this one. The Case Study of Vantas. Yeah, this one's actually returning on a Friday. Because when I initially watched the series, along with Realist Hero for the Kingdom, this actually aired on a Saturday. Yes. For some reason, when they bring the series back, it's going to air on Monday, which I think is not Monday, it's Friday. I think that's kind of weird. 15, Drugstore in the World. Yeah, this one I read the first two books for it so far, and the anime mostly came with the first book, and I did later on read the second book, and I haven't read the third book yet. But, and here's another one, basically, where I've checked on the Crunchyroll streaming service. There's no dub for this one. Nope, no dub. Unknown reason was for this. I don't know if there is one. I haven't seen any dub for this one. No, not really. As far as I can tell, there is no official dub for this one. No, not really. You would think Crunchyroll at least announced some kind of dub for it, but there isn't. No, there isn't. Yeah, I thought it was quite weird. No dub for this one. Oh, by the way, they did announce for Don't Tell Me Miss Nagaro that there is season 2 coming. And I think it's coming later on this year, which I'm looking forward to that because I actually enjoyed I watched the anime for that one. 16. The last few I should mention, though, I only watched these one in the last couple months. The first one was, Do You Love Your Mom and Her Two Multi-Hit Attacks? Yep. Absolute fantastic anime to watch. Yeah, despite its weird premise and the fact the anime only covered the first 3 light novels out of 11. Yes, 11 books. So, don't you dare say there's not a material for season 2. No, there is. I'm surprised there isn't a season 2 for this one. The series only aired just last year. It's by far one of the most oddest choices for an anime, but I've enjoyed it. This is also another one. Funimation, yeah, that's why I watch Funimation. No dub. And you're scratching your head like, really? There's no dub for Do You Love Your Mom and Her Two Multi-Hit Attacks? I would have thought, though, there would have been a dub by now, but there isn't. Which I think is kind of weird. Like, it's been out for over a year and no dub? Maybe there's not much to call for it. Maybe. The next couple... 18 was also... Now, 17, 19, and 20 are based upon light novels. 18 is the only other manga adaptation I watched this year. And this was an absolute fun series to watch. Welcome Demon School Irma-kun. Yes, one of 2 shows in a row where Kyle Herman voices a character in it. Yeah, he voices himself in this one. He also voices a character from another series. We'll discuss that in a minute. The other 3 are light novel adaptations. The one I watched just before this one was Rest of the World. An absolute great anime that the current season just ended. I think it was just a couple weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago. Where that one, the series, the current season only been about 4 episodes in. I think it was like about 4 or 5 episodes in by the time I caught up to it. And this was an absolute great series to watch. And I've been watching the dub for season 2, which has been really good. And currently, I'm pretty much up to date with the dub. As far as I can tell, I think there might be another episode released by now. I'm not really sure. But I'm definitely looking forward to finish watching season 2 dub. Season 2 was fantastic. I loved it. I mean, who would have thought though a series all about food, aside from Toriko, make me interested? There's some action bits here, but mostly puts basically people hanging out in restaurants and did form an actual relationship. Yes, because in the penultimate episode, we had Prince Seraph propose to the princess from the Empire. Yep. It would probably appear though, like off screen, he maybe got permission from her father first before he did this, and I'm sure probably like he did all this just so you can basically get. So he proposed to her, calls her Andy, and she's like, "Did you call me Andy?" And then apparently by the next episode, they're happily married. And of course, you also have it where the guy who wars for our ship tried to get on with Sarah, but it doesn't go anywhere at all. She says she's not currently interested in marriage right now, but who knows? I mean, it's barely heavily hinted that these two basically could become a couple, but who knows? And if you're curious, I have read all 5 light novels. It's a great series. And there is enough material there for season 2. They didn't adapt the entirety of like one book, which is quite strange. It's a very similar premise to that of Drugs of the World. Well, there was another series that kind of has a minor similarity to it, which I'll get to that. The last 2 I covered, one actually owned all the books released here. Wolf's Fast Assassin gets reincarnated in another world as an aristocrat. This one, absolute great series. I initially watched the whole series subbed, though I have since watched it dubbed. At the time when I started watching it dubbed, when I watched the series, I think that only about the first 3 episodes have been dubbed so far. I don't really know how far much further that the series got with it. I'm not really sure. Let me take a look here for that one. Okay, it looks like though that they've gotten to episode 6. Yeah, so basically about 3 more episodes left that have aired so far. That should be interesting to watch. Yes. Yeah, and Kyle Herbert's this one too. He's the voice of Khan. Oh, Kane, anyways. Yes, the father of the main character in this series. And then there's the most recent one I just finished up, Banished the Hero Party. Now, Banished the Hero Party and Wolf's Fire Assassin had one thing in common. I finished watching up until like episode 12, which was the most recent episode they aired. Well, at least every recent episode they had aired so far at that point. And okay, I was preparing to start be regular review, and then the very first episode of the regular review for that was meant to watching, final episode of the season. I'm like, really? So I catch up with this thing, and it's the final episode. Okay. Excuse me. Banished the Hero Party managed to cover 4 books in 13 episodes. And I was surprised how much they kept in, despite how much books are there. And some people might think they cut some stuff out. They did. Mostly was dialogue and a little bit of the epilogue, book 5, but they did a really good job when it comes to this one. Was Fire Assassin, 1 book for 13 episodes, which that was amazing seeing that. Yep. And I have since read books 2 and 3. And waiting for book 4, it comes out in just a month. Yep. And, well, now in the case of, I was continuing basically where I was going to start last week. Actually, last video. Now, because of the fact that, well, anime is going to. Now, tomorrow, Demon Slayer is definitely coming out tomorrow. That's the only one. But the following week, Boruto and. Yeah, it's Boruto and. Well, One Piece Boruto come back the following week. But Thursday. Thursday this week will be the last week for quite a while that maybe just one show airing. It's been like that for quite a while. I think since I'm trying to remember what series was it this year that was airing on Thursday. That wasn't between with Nagro. There was another anime that aired on Thursday. It's not 8 and 0. Huh. I could have sworn there was one other anime that aired on Thursday. Well, I don't remember what it was. Yeah, they aired on Thursday. So, yeah, tomorrow, just Demon Slayer. Thursday, Shaman King returns. Okay, so, January 7th, it's Return of the Case of Atlantis, Cur 2. I believe this will be the 13th or 14th episode of the, I think 13th episode of the series. Then we have How Realistic Over the Kingdom on January 8th, which is Saturday, which I thought that was quite interesting because both those two shows air at the same day. Now when they come back, it's two separate days for some reason. I don't know why. January 9th. To date right now, there's no change in the lineup right now when it comes to the anime. Monday, January 10th. This matter of fact, I also have a stream that night. I think I might have time that night after I do this one. If I don't, I'll probably do the next day. Review the very first episode, second half of Attack on Titan Final Season Part 2. Now, Tuesday, Wednesday, currently nothing. Yes, there is no new anime airing those 2 days. Those two are the only ones where I have nothing new airing those days as of right now. January 13th, it's Return of a Freya Season 2. Well, Return to the Freya series, second season. This was the first new season at this point in almost 3 years. For me, it's been almost 2. Yep. And after that, there is no new additions to the anime lineup. I mean, Friday, basically, a regular basis right now, which is going to be Case of Atlantis. Excuse me. I'm thinking, okay, but what about Yasha Half Demon? I will eventually get to that. Don't worry about that. And there will be definitely that coming in the future. Probably, maybe just after when I get Mass Man at 25. It's possible. But in the case of Mass Man, I could do a little more time for that one. But they'll probably do a little bit later. Okay? But yeah, that's going to be it for this particular review. Now, you also probably think, okay, where is your good things that happened in 2021? I think I might see it for tomorrow. Because or at least I could probably do later on tonight. Maybe, but I just want to rest my voice a bit, okay? Next video. Bye.